Taking us higher. Step inside, don't be shy tonight. We're connecting hearts live on the mic. Let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. Everybody come and let's talk, let's talk. We got stories, let's talk. We got stories, let's talk. Let's talk. Ooh, yeah. Let's talk. Ooh, yeah.
Hello and welcome to That Talker with Tariro. Today we have the vivacious, the beautiful ZBC newsreader and top 18 Miss Universe Zimbabwe 2026, the one and only Miss Monalisa.
I feel like I need an applause after that.
You
Welcome.
Exactly, drum roll. Welcome,
you for
welcome
having
to
me.
the show, and
Thank you.
congratulations for
Thank you
making
so
it
much.
to top 18. And in a few minutes, you will be
On that big stage.
on the big stage. We have Monalisa here, and she made it to top 18. And I think as ZBC family, as News Hour family, us as the talk, yeah, it's a celebration for all of us.
I appreciate
We
it.
are winners. And
Absolutely.
yeah, tell us, who is Monalisa before we see you on the big stage? And I'm hoping that when you become Miss Universe, yeah, not when, in 2 hours time, when you are Miss Universe.
I receive.
Zimbabwe,
I receive.
you're not going to forget us, eh?
Of course not.
Yeah, let us know, who is Monalisa? Share with us. Let Zimbabwe know.
Okay. Monalisa Dube is a very ambitious person, very grounded. I was raised in a Christian household. My parents are pastors. So I have a very strong Christian background. Obviously, sometimes when you grow older, you end up doing your own little things.
Exactly.
But I still have that grounding that I was raised by.
Yes.
And I was raised by a father who's very passionate about education. And I remember I did commercials in high school and I was going to be an accountant. I actually did ACCA for like a couple of years, I think up to like F8. I don't know if they still do it in that system.
And you dropped out.
So what happened was I had this journal. I used to watch a lot of Tyra Banks. I was such a huge fan of Tyra Banks and Oprah Winfrey. So I always used to journal, oh my word, I wish I could be like Tyra Banks, and I would write it down. And somehow my mom stumbled on that journal. And then, so she then said to me, perhaps you're in the wrong field. Yeah. And the thing is,
Accounts,
because
yeah.
my parents are so strict, I didn't think they would allow me to pursue media, right? So we had a whole conversation. My dad was on board, and my dad is big on education. So he said to me, if this is the path you want to go, then you have to be educated. You need to study it. What do you need to study? So it's like journalism and media studies. We went to the Harare Polytechnic. I applied. And I think they put me on the waiting list because I didn't have an arts background. And they're like, okay, so if one or two people maybe drop out, maybe at orientation, then we have a place for you. So that's how I got my first diploma in journalism and media. I think they call it mass communication.
communication,
And
yes.
I specialize in broadcasting. So when I did the diploma, my dad was like, that is not enough. You need to, to advance your education. And that's when so at the time I had gotten I was doing my internship at ZFM Stereo.
Okay.
I was an intern there. So I was like doing the breakfast show. I was producing for...
You're already on radio.
No, I was just in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the
Okay.
girl who printed the papers and typed everything.
Okay.
Yes, I did production for the breakfast show when it was still Miss Red and TK. I did a bit of production for Veneco as well and for Patience Most. I was like somewhere in the background. So at the time, I was also studying towards my degree, honors degree in Media and Society Studies at Midland State University. So when we started, we were the first batch that did the block classes. So there were no classes in Harare. So every month I was
You were
between
going to-
Harare and Gweru. Yes, so 1 week in Gweru, 3 weeks I am here in Harare. So it was hectic.
Yeah.
So I say that to say I'm a very disciplined person. When I decide to do something, I give it my 150%, regardless of the time it consumes. So that's me.
And getting into the media fields, you were like an intern at AB.
GFM, yes.
Yeah. How did you then break into radio? Because I remember hearing you on radio now. How did that transition, how did it happen? Because there are other young people who are actually listening to you and would be motivated to actually hear from you. And just listening to you for us from years to year, that journey from the Harare Polytechnic, because I think that's where we all started. It was like the only media training institution, not just in Zim, but in Southern Africa.
Yeah.
And was very difficult to get a place there. Yeah.
Hence I was on the waiting list.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to be at the right place at the right time and just to be patient with your journey, because sometimes we want something so fast, but the process is slow.
Yeah.
So I was doing production for a while, and I was behind the scenes for a while, and then I also do a bit of news reporting in the newsroom. So what happened was there was a time when a lot of people left ZFM. There was a period where a lot of people left for, I think there were new stations that were opening, like other radio stations were opening, other media houses were opening, so people were leaving. So I think I had 2 people that were leaving that said to me, can you take over my show, right?
Ah, wow.
Can you take over my show? I feel like I can't leave a blank. Can you take over the show? And there was a time as well when AB Communication was expanding to open radio stations in Gweru and Mashingo.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, we're still starting. We need news anchors. Do you think you can just fill in? And I was like, yeah, of course. That's how I started. So like, wait, this girl can actually read the news.
Yeah.
That's how it started. And that's how my journey on radio started as well.
And from ZFM, you went to another private media institution. How was that transition?
So before I moved, I had been promoted within AB Communications. Initially, I was a reporter, and then I was a senior reporter, and then I became the head of current affairs.
Oh, wow.
And then I became programming manager, and then in charge of like the entire programming and the content at the station. So I think that transition then made me noticeable by people, like, oh, okay, so if this is what you can do, what can you do for our platform? So that's how I transitioned in heading that particular organization.
Indeed, that's Monalisa Dube. We've had her background. And after this short break, we are now going to hear about her now going on to Miss Universe Zimbabwe 2026, because that's what we are celebrating. It's going to be happening later on this evening, and today happens to be also my birthday. So that's all the good luck to Monalisa. Join us after this short break. Welcome back as we continue with our discussion. So Monalisa, you being this well-known media personality, I must say, and you've actually just shown us within the past 8-10 minutes within the first episode that you're not just a pretty face, but you are actually somebody who has worked to be where she is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's talk about Miss Universe.
Okay, so I have been following pageantry for a while, and I have noticed that pageantry has evolved over the past few years. It's now more about what you stand for, how you can represent your country, your advocacy. And I think for me, that's what really drew me to Miss Universe, especially at this stage of my career. So I believe that with how Miss Universe Zimbabwe has been positioned currently in its current state, it's an extension of what I've already been doing, because I've always tried to use my platform, whether on radio, on TV, to just give a voice to people that are often unheard, and also just to use those platforms to hold people that are in authority accountable, whether it's in the development of our country or it's in improving the lives of the marginalized communities in our society. So how I interpret Miss Universe and how I understand the work that they have been doing, and even on a global level, it's an extension of that community work that I have been doing. And it's really something that I thought I can contribute towards and something that I can be a part of.
How did you enter the whole pageantry and all? Because we would want even to motivate other young girls who might actually know, how do I even become part of that?
Look, I just saw the auditions. Like,
Walk us through all that year.
Like I did say, I have been following pageantry for a while, but because there was a time in my career where I was mostly on the admin side of media, and that's very taxing and time consuming. It needs like your 100%. And I didn't think I had the commitment to give what I interpret Miss Universe Zimbabwe to be, to give it that 100% attention. So as now as I have also transitioned to a different role in my career, and when the auditions came up, and I was like, this is it, this is the year. And yes, that's how I went through for the auditions.
How was it?
What
really happens there?
It's a lot, and it's a room full of very pretty girls, right?
So do you just, when you've seen the auditions, do they say we are having auditions at this particular time, from this time to this time? How do you go through that whole process?
Okay, so if you follow like their pages and maybe other bloggers as well online, they will announce and say we have auditions on a particular day. And they will tell you, for your province, we are going to be at such and such a place at this time. But initially, you have to register. Like a month prior, they will call out for registrations.
Okay, that's what I wanted to say. 10,000 people who turn up on the day.
Absolutely.
What happens? Yeah.
So what they do is they call out for registrations probably a month prior to the auditions. And then the process that you have to, some stuff you have to hand in, your bio, your pictures, and then they will tell you after you have entered the registration, say, please look out for the audition date in your town. And then, so obviously you're refreshing the page every now and then to see, okay, when are the auditions? And then I think for us, it was almost a month later where they then called out for the auditions. I did the Harare ones because that's where I'm based.
Yeah.
So it's like, I had never done pageantry before.
Really?
No, I'd never done pageantry before, except those like small pageants we did in high school.
Yes.
It's for fun, but nothing on a grand scale. I'd never done one before. So I would practice at home, like just seeing how other models walk, and just to practice for me to prep for the audition, just to also research online. And then they'll tell us what to wear. And you obviously have to pick a shoe that's comfortable for you. So we did the auditions, and from the auditions, I think a week after, they then announced the top 30. And then when they announced the top,
that's a Harare top 30.
No, that's
the national
top 30. Yes, because they also had auditions in Bulawayo, if I'm not mistaken. So from those two sets of auditions, then they pick their top 30. So from the top 30, they then say, okay.
And how did it feel for you to be on the top 30?
I cried so much. It was so exciting.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm actually getting teary now when I think about the moment.
Oh, I can see the tear. Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I'm seeing you being teary, and I'm imagining what will be happening on the big stage in a few
minutes. I better not cry on the big stage because I will just ruin the makeup.
So yeah, you before you actually broke down. Oh, you're talking about the excitement of just seeing yourself on that whole
the whole lineup,
30.
and it was such a powerful lineup of like beautiful, intelligent women, because for you to be in that criteria, you have to have substance of sorts, right? So after that, they then told us, okay, so we want to hear what you're advocating for. If you are to win Miss Universe, what are you going to be advocating for? Send us that video, which then they used to streamline to top 18, where we are right now, before we just go to the grand finale.
So what were you advocating for?
I am very passionate about education, especially in my work. I have interacted with a lot of young people, young people that are battling drug and substance abuse, survivors of child marriages, others that living with HIV and AIDS in our society. I've interacted with all those young people. And one thing they've always said is, if only I had the chance to go to school, if only I had the chance to do this. So I believe that education gives us choices. And if everyone has access to education, we have an opportunity for us to improve the lives of the young people in this country. So I'm very passionate about that. And that's what I'll be advocating for, especially access to education for those that are in the rural areas. I don't know if you've seen pictures of young people learning under a tree or in like really dilapidated classrooms. That is demoralizing. Even if you want to be more in life, if you're not surrounded by having the right environment, it just reduces that morale. And if we can just, in the very least, reduce those pressures, and that's what I'm advocating for.
Indeed, that's Miss Universe 2026. Hey, I'm waiting for us to hear Monalisa Dube. Join us after this short break. Welcome back as we get to our third and final segment with Monalisa, who has made it to the top 18 Miss Universe Zimbabwe 2026. And in a few hours, she will be on that grand stage where she will be battling it out with other beautiful Zimbabwean queens. So how are you feeling as we approach?
I'm very nervous.
Yeah.
I'm very nervous because, which is very funny because I speak to millions of Zimbabweans on television. But it's a different kind of experience.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure, the experience that I've had on radio and in television and just being in those spaces will help me through the process.
And looking at the other contestants, anyone that you are saying, the Sunny that's threat?
Not really.
Not really. I like that.
Not
I
really.
like the confidence.
I think we all have a fair shot to the crown. I think that's why we've been all chosen to be top 18. So I'm also going to bring my A game to make sure that I also do my best to qualify.
Indeed, as they talk with Tariro, we're actually wishing you the very, very best. Let's go back to now talk about Monalisa, who is our ZBC News anchor. When you made it onto the news, there was a lot of noise. Did you see that?
I was so excited. I was laughing with my colleague the other day. Like, I didn't know how exciting it is to be on the news. As like a news feed.
People made noise to say, we've got a beautiful face on the news. How was that? Hosting news at 8. I even can't imagine myself just reading the news. I think.
Oh, you meant like it'd be the first time I read the news on.
For me, news at 8 on ZBC, it's intimidating.
So I started off at when I started off at ZBC, I started off at lunchtime over the weekends. So we also did auditions to audition. I think there's a time they did a call out for that, and I was like, oh, okay. When I think back of everything that has happened the past few months, it feels like a full circle moment for me, because it's I'm in spaces where I've always wanted to be, For me, radio found me, and I fell in love with radio. And at the time, I think we couldn't there was limited space, like because the national broadcaster was the only one that had television at the time.
Yeah.
So I think there was a time when they were not taking new people, etc. So radio found me. Yes, but TV had always been my first love.
Oh, is that
yes.
so?
So it was something that's very exciting for me. So what I did was I started off on the lunchtime. I think I did like 2 shifts at lunchtime, and then they moved me to prime time.
Prime time.
Yes, and they moved me to prime time. It was so exciting. I was so nervous. I remember I was so nervous. I spent one thing about me, even if it's reading or whatever it is that I want to do, I practice a lot. I practice a lot.
Yeah.
Like even up to this day, I'll say to them, can I take the scripts home? And then I'll practice. And then so I benchmark myself with international news anchors, because that's what I would want to be one day.
Yeah.
So I listen to them like, okay, this is how they say this is how they pause.
And funny you're saying that, when I was, the time that I actually watched you, I saw an S06 there.
I love Aisha.
and I'm wishing you that, would want you still to continue
Thank
at ZBC, but really I'm looking at you in future, being the
So
future
that's
Aisha.
how I practice. Like even preparing for this pageant, I benchmark myself against the international models. Like, okay, what is it about her that makes her stand out that I can do to be the best version of myself? So I practice a lot. Like every time before I go on air, I'm practicing. Like, okay, maybe I'm too fast paced, maybe I'm slow, and that's how I get better.
And as a young, beautiful lady, how do you handle fame?
I don't think I'm famous.
You are. Who's not famous and they're on primetime news?
Like I said, just staying grounded in your faith and staying grounded in who you are and your beliefs. I think that's what has made me just stay in the place and not get being a public figure get into my head.
Yeah. And one thing that I always ask those who are in our field, when I get a chance to interact with them, is the issue of social media, the proliferation of social media, artificial intelligence, how it's almost like coming and annihilating all of us. Your views on that? And the fact that now, because we've got social media, everyone has become a newsreader. Everyone has become a journalist.
Absolutely.
And when we're at college, you would know that when you ask questions, those 5 W's and an H, but now everybody has got a podcast, and half the time when you're listening, you're like, okay, that's how we are doing.
But haven't you been in a scenario where when you see something on a blog, you're like, unless if I see it unless if I see it on ZBC, then it's true. Unless if I see it on it, then it's true. I think it's still the same thing this day, where people, even if they hear it on their favorite blogs and social media, they still need that traditional bigger media to put a stamp on it. But also it's true. If it's been reported on ZBC, so it's true. If it's been reported on X platform, therefore it's true. So
effectively you're saying we are not going anywhere.
No, we're not going anywhere. I don't
like
think
that.
But what I do think though is traditional media, and I think a lot of traditional media is doing that now, is to catching up on the social media wave. But I don't think traditional media
we can't be replaced.
We cannot be replaced. I think because of we follow the ethics of journalism.
Exactly.
And maybe people might not realize that it's because traditional media is ethical. It's because they rely on that. So yes.
Yeah. And as we wrap up the show, as Miss Universe 2026,
I receive
top 5. For now, we are talking about top 5 as we wrap up the show. What message are you giving to Zimbabwe?
I have a message specifically for women, because I think that society has defined for us what we should be and how far we should go. And I think sometimes we have to move to beyond that. Growing up, I was told that I'm too much. Like, you're too opinionated, you know. It's not every time you have to share your opinion, you know, you need to tone down, you know. A family member said to me, if ever you want to get married, then you have to tone down. Shame. And I think it was coming from a good place, you know. I didn't hold it against them, you know. And I thank God I didn't tone down.
Yeah.
Because had I done that, I wouldn't be on national television today,
True.
you know. Had I done that, I wouldn't be in Miss Universe today. So don't tone down.
Yeah.
Stay true to yourself and stay true to your beliefs, because the women that may leave a mark in this world are those that, you know, stay true to what they believe in and stay true to their dreams.
Indeed, that's Monalisa Dube there. And for us as the Talk with Tariro, we are rooting for her and we are saying, go Monalisa, go. We'll bring her back after the big show. Until next week, we are saying goodbye.
We got stories, let's talk. Let's talk. Ooh, we got stories, let's talk.
Morning light and the cameras rolling, people smiling, conversations flowing.
From the city streets to the worldwide view.